It's all about the Health and Healing Hub experience each and every Saturday on your favorite station between the hours of 2 and 4. ContrastRadio.net.
This is the space that we talk nature and natural solutions, self-care, self-love and self-acceptance. The Health and Healing Hub experience. This is where we can heal and develop in healthy and essential ways. Welcome again, everybody. Grab a snack and a nice hot cup of tea, take a seat and just tune in. It's wonderful to have you with us. This is the Health and Healing Hub experience. Okay, and now I'd like to introduce you to Julia, who has recently published a new book called Crush to Sparkle, which is described as a holistic healing self-discovery journal toolkit where you meet your past, present and future self and create your own her story or his story as you are the CEO of your life. Welcome, Julia. If you'd like to maybe tell the listeners a bit about yourself and because I've got some questions to ask you.
Sure, no problem. Well, thank you so much for inviting me on this beautiful Health and Healing Hub show today. Julia Brown, that's who I am, and really my drive, mission, purpose right now is to help people to help themselves. I'm really passionate about people who might be feeling stuck in their life or something's happened and they're feeling less than who they truly, really are. In terms of my background, I've got over 20 years experience in the public, private and the voluntary sectors, and I've focused a lot in education, learning, training and development. I am an EDI lead, organizational development lead, and I'm very much into anti-racist practices as well, as well as capacity building, and also in terms of helping people in terms of learning and development, so personal growth and professional growth and development too. So the whole thing is all about making a difference. It's moving beyond lip service, especially when it comes to issues regarding equality, diversity and inclusion and intersectionality. The key thing here is really people are sick and tired of talk. They really want to see action, practical application, manifestation, implementation, execution of things that are going to help them in their lives. Talk is cheap, and I really am an advocate now of just saying, okay, not simply just put your money where your mouth is. How are we going to make sure that this is something that can empower the community? Because I do community engagement and workshop deliveries. How can we empower the community? So if the funding or if anything has run out, what skills can you equip them with so that they have some means to continue the mission that they have set up for themselves? So that is where I'm really coming from. And in terms of Crushed to Sparkle,
well, that's what I was going to come on to is Crush to Sparkle itself. It was the title of the book that actually got me. Why? Question for me is why did you use that title? And I'm wondering what themes or messages do you hope readers take away from the book?
Brilliant question. Constantly asked why. And really it's figuratively thinking and speaking. Crushed in terms of a situation, circumstances or people that has made you feel crushed. And what I'm saying is that inside of you, you've got millions of beautiful diamonds. So despite circumstances, situations, people, places, things looking to keep you down, my objective is to build you up. and look inside of self, because this is an inner interview journey where you're going to journal your progress through time and space, i.e. past, present, future version of self. And the whole objective is to say, if you look at the front cover, you'll see that there is my hand with this magnificent, huge diamond. And the whole objective is to say that we're going to take a diamond that's within you and we are going to magnify that. So you sparkle and shine even more brightly. And if you've done it once, you can do it again, and we'll find another diamond from within, so that you keep on getting bigger, bolder, brighter, and you're shining a beautiful light out there, because everyone has a story to tell.
Absolutely. Wow.
100.
Wow. I actually heard about the book, I heard about the book via an online group before we actually both made contact with each other. So I'm actually curious to know how you initially came about writing in the first place. Have you always written since you were young, or is it something that transpired as you got older?
The latter. In terms of, it's more of life situations. So there's lived experiences within, as well as talking to others and hearing their stories and incorporating it into Crush to Sparkle. I want to get the message loud and clear that Crush to Sparkle is not a book you just read. It is designed for you to do things for you. So at the end of the day, it starts off with Crush to Sparkle, how to positively build yourself up from a broken relationship. Usually when people see that subtitle, they think, well, partner. My question is, what's the relationship you have with yourself? First and foremost.
Absolutely.
Is that, in a way, needing attention? And then you can start looking at other people. But what is the relationship you have with you? And one of the things I'll just share with you, and I'll explain a few other things in a moment, because you were saying, what can the reader take away? But one of the most powerful things that I start where you're at. And what I mean by that is in terms of, I mentioned about equality, diversity, and inclusion. I didn't mention equity. Equity is where you start. Equality is where you finish. Okay? So what do I mean by that? Where are you right now in your life is where we're going to be starting. And where do you want to finish is that equality aspect of things. But we're not all starting from the same place. So equity is saying, okay, where are you? So my objective is saying, let's find where you are now. Not the polished version, the real version of you, the wake up in the morning version of you. Where are you now? And the exercise which really helps so many people is that I will ask you to look in the mirror. Now, some people can look in the mirror and they can be very happy with who they see. Others can look into the mirror, or they tentatively look into the mirror because they don't really want to look at themselves. And that's a question in itself. Why? Why don't you actually want to look at yourself? Because you can't run away from the person that's in the mirror. Now, when they look in the mirror, my question to them is, whose voice do you hear? Now, that can be seen as a rhetorical question, because you can say, obviously, I'm going to hear my voice, Julia. My next question to you is your voice helping you or hurting you? Then, and then if they're saying, well, oh, yeah, it's 50-50, or it could be like, oh, it's always helping me, or it's not helping me. So then the next question is, okay, if it's not helping you, is it just your voice that's not helping you? Or is it people's perception of you hear when you look at you in the mirror? because your voice might be saying you're not great, but it's not actually your voice. It could be people's voice telling you before, you're not that great, you're not that great. And now your voice is also saying, you're not that great, you're not that great. Or it may not even be another person. It could be somebody who is dead and gone, whose voice is so strong that overpowers other people's perception of you and your own voice. So whose life are we really living right now? And that's where the journey is going to begin.
Deep. So,
and you write down where you're at, because this is about journaling your journey. Because at the end of the day, the activities which I'll explain in a moment, the activities that you go through, when you've gone through these activities and you've put down how you think and how you feel and how you behave, the toolkit then is a piece of your own life, because you are the content creator. So every toolkit is going to be unique to you, by you, from you, with love. That's what.
Excellent. So what about this? Is this book your first book, or have you written any in the past?
This is my first book, and the whole objective is really about breaking down, but we're not going to stay down. We're going to be built up. We're going to break through to break free, to become a better version, a more improved version of self. The time that it takes to do this is dependent on each person. There's no race. The competition is with self.
Absolutely.
The whole objective is for you to stay in your lane in life. Even though life is going to look to sway you to the left or right, get back on track and stay in your lane and keep focusing on your desired goals.
Yeah. Can you... Yeah. I'm just thinking it sounds perfect. It's much. I couldn't really emphasize how that's needed with us as a people.
And
healing's crucial, isn't it?
100%, because listen, when the whole point of using the diamond analogy is diamond is carbon, we're carbonated people. And the whole objective is to say, in order for the diamond to form, it has to be in the dark. It needs a lot of high temperature. It needs a lot of pressure. We as a people are in the dark, high temperature, and constantly under pressure. So we need more diamonds to pop up and be shining.
I'm interested to know what you could tell us about your writing process. How did you approach this as a new project? And how would I say, in terms of motivation, how do you continue writing your book? Okay, you've come up with the idea, it's been burning for a while. How do you keep that passion? How do you keep that going until the actual end? Because we might, as we might know, having an idea is one thing, but seeing it through to the very end is another ball game altogether, in my opinion.
100%. Yes. In terms of Crush to Sparkle, that was not even the original title. That's just really showing that things happen, that you review, see how it resonates with you. And initially the original title was birthing out of a lot of pain of something that I was going through, personal situation. And I was thinking, yes, I want to get it out of the system, and yes, I want to be able to put it down on paper. However, the higher version of self said, but it seems you want to be putting out a lot of pain. How is that helping anyone? So therefore, the objective then was to say, okay, what could transform something that looks painful into something beautiful. You feel crushed, but you want to sparkle. So that's how Crush the Sparkles transitioned, because initially it was Samurai Feather. And it's like, Samurai Feather? What is that? What does that mean? And I just said, okay, you know a samurai sword is super sharp. Now imagine that you have a samurai warrior with this sword, and he's welding this sword such a level of speed across somebody's body really, 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 really fast, that it's almost as if it's like a feather, and they can just blow that person away. And the whole objective was to say, well, that means that the person is just literally living by the wind. Wherever the wind blows, that's where the person goes. How is that going to empower anyone? So the whole point is, what could be strong, what could be bright, what could be bold, what could be beautiful? And diamond came to mind. So that's why I moved from Samurai Feather to Crushed to Sparkle. So despite whatever you are going to say, do, or attempt to crush, put me in a corner, keep me down, suppress me, compress me, restrict me, I will come out and sparkle.
How do you balance your writing with other aspects of your life?
Well, at the time of writing Crush to Sparkle, there was lots of different challenges coming left, right, and center, and it was just like, just take a moment. Yes, connect with nature, go to the park. I really love like woodlands, and more important, water. But it needs to be water. It needs to be moving, not stagnant. And just being in those places and spaces, and looking at the trees, looking up, and just seeing how tall these trees are, and imagining how many voices, how many things have they heard and seen over the centuries. Yeah, and then that just really gives perspective of life, literally like a leaf. You can be here today and gone tomorrow. So it's more important to just appreciate everything that you can, that you have, rather than I want, I need. What do you have? And have that attitude of gratitude for a higher altitude of self. In order to just say, this is where I'm at. It may, at my age and stage and phase of life, it may not be where I thought I would be. But the question then is, are you going to have the victim mentality, pity party, or are you going to say, okay, I acknowledge this is not where I'm at. However, I do have some good things, and let me appreciate those in order to encourage more goodness to come into my space, as opposed to more of the sadness and lack and negativity, which is a vicious cycle that only goes down, it doesn't go up. And it goes deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yes, absolutely. I had a moment, was it last week? My time is flying. I think I had a moment. Just one, sometimes you get those moments. I remember myself saying to the Creator, just saying, God, just always make me remember to be grateful. It really might sound silly, or you're copying this, you heard this here, you heard that there, you're just saying it to be saying it. I meant it from my heart. Try to always make me remember to be grateful. Whatever happens, please just make me be grateful, because it's almost, I can't stress how important it is. It's almost like, because they say as above so below, as within so without. It's almost like, well, I see it anyway, I see it like or spirit or mother or father how would we say, Most High, etc., or God, I see it almost like your physical parent. You know, when you're grateful or you're good, it's almost like they want to give you more. They want to help you. But if you want to stay in a corner and be ungrateful, be sad, remorseful, it's almost like they say, "Oh, stay there then. Stay there." You know, and then when you finish, you come back to me.
To a point, I will agree with that. And however, I would also say that I know many, self included, that can say like, "Well, I'm doing all of this, I'm doing all of that, and it's still not working. I don't get it." And then it appears that others are doing nothing and they're excelling and flying high. And it's just like, how is this? You know, and I really think that it's a conversation that each and every one, if they choose to, depending whatever their faith walk is, if you take time out and have that conversation. Now, elders might say, don't question, don't be ask God anything like that. Just be grateful. But what I'm saying is that to me, the way how my path with the Most High is to say like, you're my parent, you're source energy. You know everything, you see everything, and you know what's going on inside me, even before I do or say anything. However, I'm having this conversation because my position now is I want to have my own intimate conversation with the Most High. I don't want an intermediary telling me how this is supposed to be or how that's supposed to be. I want to have my own relationship anytime, any place, anywhere with the Most High. I don't need to be in some particular position or institution to be able to speak to God, because God, or the Most High, whatever you want to call infinite source energy, is everywhere, any place, anytime, 24/7, 365, 366. You know, so my objective is that, and I think I don't see that there's a problem if you want to really speak to God or however you're really feeling, because you shouldn't be hiding your feeling from the Most High. I mean, if you're crying or if you're upset about something, to care to share that, rather than to say, well, I must be positive. Yes, it is important to be positive. However, it's also important just to express how you feel, because if you choose not to, your body will eventually hold on to those things you're trying to suppress, and eventually, just like a pressure cooker, you will blow. And you may blow on the slightest, smallest thing, and people around you is going to think, why are you behaving like that? Simply because you've been compressing a whole leap of energy, and it hasn't had an opportunity to get out, and it's just been building, until somebody just says, I don't like it. Just, what do you mean you don't like me? It's like, whoa. And it's like, where did all of that come from? It wasn't just because you said I didn't like your dress. That was because that's been building up over time, and you was trying to contain it, when really and truly the energy wanted to be let out, and you've allowed it to grow from just being a small situation into something huge. And that's why your outburst might be seen out of context, but the content, you made it grow too big.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. We have to be real with ourselves. Real, that's the most important thing. If you can't be real with yourself, it's not a good, I don't think it's a good starting place. Honesty first and foremost, but I think because we are in this dimension where our wiring or most of us, our wiring is set for negative, and in terms of our thinking, it's really important to try and turn your thinking around to the positive. And even if we're not getting, or it appears that we're not getting, or what we're not receiving what we want, is to, for me, I think, is to look for the lessons in that, because it's not that everything comes instantly. There's a process to everything. People that are perceived to be successful or have it all, when you ask them how, the process, it didn't just come just like that overnight.
No. It's like 15, 20 years, and then they had that moment which then catapulted them into the limelight. So it's not an overnight success. There's a lot of hard work in the background. As you said, definitely there is a process, and you more likely heard the phrase that there's a lot of mess, but in the mess is a message. And that's where the learning takes place in order for the change to happen. And again, even with the word challenge, and we go through a lot of challenges, take away some of those letters and leaves the word changes.
Ooh.
So at the end of the day, that's what's happening to us. The question is, what do we do when we're in that? Are we reacting, or are we responding to what's going on? Because depending on which pathway you take, if you just automatically just react, as opposed to, where possible, not every situation you can respond. I mean, if you're in a car accident, you just react. You're not going to be, let me think about how do I do this, yeah? But for most things where you can have a moment to respond, i.e. take a stock for a second, stop and take stock of what's going on, and see what's the best way forward. But I also appreciate that there are going to be situations in life where you just have to react, because it's a life and death situation.
Oh, absolutely. It's I have on the clock, just looking at it now, it's 3 minutes. It's under 3 minutes to go. Crush to Sparkle sounds like the perfect birthday or Christmas gift. How can people snap it up? Can you share with the listeners where they can get a copy of your book and how they can contact you?
Yes, definitely. The name of the book is the name of the website. So crushtosparkle.com. You can order the book from there. It's also available on Amazon. And I'd love to get some emails from individuals as well, because I do coaching, I do workshops as well. And the coaching groups, or it can be one-to-one. And I'm definitely looking for other speaking engagements to care to share the power of Crush to Sparkle. In the last minute or so, I just really want to explain the reason why you should read Crush to Sparkle. Because at the end of the day, it's saying that no longer will you need to suffer in silence. No longer will you be invisible. No longer will you be not heard. Now you have a real opportunity to change your thinking and to change your life. This book was written personally for you. I heard your cry for help. I heard your need for a new family member or a new trusted friend. I came because you called. I heard your voice. You see, right now what you're holding in your hand is an invaluable tool. It is designed to change and transform your life from a broken relationship with yourself and others to building a new positive one. It's highly interactive. It's a self-discovery. It's a journey which you journal. This is your new dawn, your new birth of life, to help you to be a better version of yourself. It's about keeping it real, honest, authentic, and genuine. There's no theory. It's just practical suggestions and applications. If you choose to use it, it's entirely up to you. It is purposefully engaging to help guide, enable, empower, and support you so that you can find out that you are truly an enlightened warrior, king or queen.
Excellent. It's been a pleasure having you with us today, and I trust that we have shared something that will plant a seed in someone else, inspire someone else, grow someone else. good luck with the excellent work and taking time to share some gems.
Thank you so much for your beautiful listeners, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. So the key thing is just to remind you that you are all amazing, and inside of you, you've got amazing diamonds. So just take one out and start placing one in your hand. And if you need any help, Julia is here to help you on that journey. Thank you.
It's all about the Health and Healing Hub experience each and every Saturday on your favorite station between the hours of 2 and 4. contrastradio.net.
Now, to the listeners, just another reminder, the information heard here is not intended to serve as medical advice and should not be used for the diagnosis or treatment of a health problem or disease. As I always say, investigate, do your own research when it comes to your health issues.
Welcome to Radical Love, bringing you the collective society experience on the Health and Healing Hub on contrastradio.net. It's good to be back again this week, and whether it's morning, afternoon or nighttime, welcome again for joining the intention to hear good and helpful messages, be in conversations and some radical love tunes. Still, while I'm trying to navigate and master this beautiful 15-minute segment, to combine, I hope to bring you good medicine of good thoughts and ways of healing and repair in the collective. So last week, I highlighted how necessary it is to understand how the world colony doctrine and generational trauma impacts our daily lives and limits natural collective inspirations, just so that we can get a better idea or agreement of how to let go of and handle today's hardships, difficulties, losses, and some shocking events taking place today. I also wanted to say this week that generational trauma is a specific type of trauma, and it does go with a number of other traumas that we experience individually and collectively in groups, whether it be families, communities, etc. We actually experience a whole host of different trauma experiences, and just wanted to acknowledge that and also team that up with that the main thing is about how we address these trauma experiences, the complexity of trauma, and that different people, different cultures, different places require different approaches to how we overcome and handle our experiences. And that's why the Indigenous African Diaspora Collective does require, just like many other nations, a specific way of healing and repair. So it's not to say that we are the only ones, it's to say that it's a humanitarian movement and that there are specific attentions that need to be addressed. So now that I've explained a bit of that, just to give some more clarity, I hope, today, I'd like to share and invite us to think again about how we need each other. Yes, that word, it can be a difficult reality to admit to ourselves, but we do need, right? Especially, it can be difficult when especially we're still getting over some terrible experiences. But just to review again what we need as a first step, I'm asking the question mainly from the wider perspective, how we live together in our communities, for example. We live in racially and culturally diverse places. At the same time, we are having to address our problems in our own communities and nations across the diaspora, just like any other nations, as I mentioned. So we look at racism, we look at sexism, we look at mental and physical health, challenges typical in Black communities. We also look at our issues around self and Black-on-Black hate towards each other, and how we can make social economic co-production together. We look at so many things. So considering the rights to good human living, our rights to good human living and our environments, the question is asked, what do I need to help me handle life? And while we're thinking about that, it can sometimes bring up some annoyances, and I'm asking that we kind of sit those down for a little minute and simply think about the question. And while we're thinking about it, I'm also inviting us to share and accept humbly that we do need each other. To be heard, for example. I mean, who's going to listen when we're speaking to each other or expressing our thoughts and feelings? To be appreciated, to be understood, to be held, to laugh with each other, and to even make money with each other. We need each other. One of the symptoms of trauma is self-sabotage, where we kind of cancel out each other, and we actually can find ourselves seeking ways to do that, because that pattern has become like a stable foundation to cause sabotage to happen, so that we don't have to be in need of each other. And then we tend to roll about in it to justify our actions. Well, it was because of this or that. Now, that does not mean that we ignore wrongs being done. What I am saying is how we get to handle events in our lives has an effect on what we want to receive to meet our natural needs, how we give and how we receive. To succeed in that, we can practice to generate goodness. To attract it is to feel it, is to be it, and do simple things that sustain it. Simple acts can generate big things. We are naturally created to combine. We're naturally created to join, to connect. Well, why is that? Well, I'll leave us to think about an answer for that question later. But for now, in asking the question, what good do you think you need? Let's test what we say we believe. We say there's a creator, most of us. Well, let's test what we say we believe. And how can you and I help ourselves to achieve what we need? Just thinking about it, going through our thoughts to reach a good place, is doing a good job of raising collective endorphins and frequency. I recently heard again, I know this is a common thought that's going around. I recently heard again of a formula. I call it a formula that says, if I think and say good things every 17 seconds for 68 seconds, then momentum starts building up, starts taking up space, and that naturally seeks natural good flows to bring back to me into existence other good flows. So there appears better and good exchange between people and things. So if we just let's think about changing the current negative collective doctrines out there to consider the doctrine of unity. So if you've been able to say a good need or think of a good need, then I'm suggesting to hold that thought, hold that good need thought, and ask from within to receive something from someone good, to share that need with you, to give it to you, and for you to receive it. That is unity. It's saying that help is possible and that there is always better to come and better that's present. Imagine being conscious and aware and practicing that every day, every moment, good thoughts and words. What would that create? When we feel good, that is how we get to that feel good position. So let's practice in our communities, with our families, in our relationships, with the intention that help is possible and we are all being participants. Know that there are things that will try to interrupt or get in the way. Just simply start again and keep it moving, keep it going. Let's see how we do. And let us know how you did. I'll give some feedback as well. I'm going to practice and give some feedback next week. What you think, tell us what you think. And any feedback on collective repair that you might have and how we sustain ourselves. Remember that there is room on this modern arc, and we get on by what and how we think, what we say and what we do. So share your thoughts. Contact us through our email, which is newradicallove@gmail.com. That's new radical, RADICALOVE@gmail.com. That's 1 L and all lowercase. So I think I'm coming up to my time now, beautiful people. As I sign out, so we stay firm and strong. So peace, and remember, love radical.
So we're approaching the top of the hour now, when we're going to go into the advert break. And in the second half of the show, we invite you to experience some of our mix and blend music selections. Give thanks.